It's a one-match show, but it's still better than anything the main roster's doing. Let's talk about NXT. What's going on, everybody? It's your buddy, it's your pal, Past Phoenix, the YWC Reality Check here with your June 14th NXT review. We've been saying for several weeks we're looking forward to this show because we're going to get the rematch from TakeOver. We're going to get Nikki Cross versus Ruby Riot versus Asuka, and that is basically everything we look forward to on this show. Heavily video package at the beginning of the show, and then we know we gotta wait till the end of the show, so we gotta see what else the show is going to give us tonight. We start off with Drew McIntyre taking on some guy named Rob Risen. So you figure it's going to be a squash match, but Rob Risen gets one or two moves in there so that it's not quite a squash. Collar and elbow tie-up, and Risen works the arm to start. Tossed by Drew, headlock by Risen, and a boot by Drew and some corner chops. Overhead belly-to-belly suplex by Drew McIntyre, which, when you consider the size of Drew McIntyre, is kind of a terrifying prospect. Super kick by Risen while Drew's on his knees, though. Vertical toss suplex by Drew McIntyre. Corner tackle, clothesline, mudhole, corner beatdown by Drew. Follows it up with that running kick that I think he's calling the Claymore kick. If I'm not mistaken, somebody correct me down in the box below if I am wrong. Drew McIntyre continues to bulldoze people, and I wonder why they're doing Roddy Strong with Bobby Roode instead of Drew McIntyre. But that's another story for another day. I'd like to see Drew McIntyre versus Aleister Black, but we'll talk about him later on. Ember Moon versus Peyton Royce is announced for next week. Now, I like this. You guys know I've been kind of hard on Peyton Royce and Billie Kay because they're just doing like the lay cool, the beautiful people, the early Bella Twins type shtick. Basically Mean Girls type thing, but at the same time they're serving a purpose. Fucking sorry guys, my glasses have a mind of their own. Sorry about that. They've been serving their purpose while they've been picking on Ember Moon while she's been injured, and they've had all these video segments at the Performance Center, all that sort of thing. So it's gotten under Ember Moon's skin. But Ember Moon has had a World Women's Championship match stolen from under her, basically twice. Once because Asuka cheated, and the second time because she was injured. So the fact that Ember Moon has focus anywhere other than the championship is a bit discerning, but at the same time, we've played out this injury storyline that they have to go through. We get a video highlight package of Aleister Black, which is great because he's another one, much like Drew McIntyre, that's sort of steamrolling through everybody. Authors of Pain take on some jobbers, and not only do they take on some jobbers, not only is it a squash, but it's such a squash that Razor and Paul Ellering are just shooting the shit outside the ring while Akam destroys everybody. Because it's basically a handicap match and he's in there on his own. They can't do their tag team finisher, but he pulls off this move, and the only way I can really describe it is a snap Death Valley driver. He gets the win for the Authors of Pain. Post-match, Razor joins him. There's a post-match beatdown. Super Collider. These guys roll out of the ring like the jobbers that they are. And Ellering shits on Heavy Machinery a lot. Reminds them that, you know, they're undefeated. They beat American Alpha. They beat TM61. Which isn't much to brag about, but they beat the Revival, they beat DIY. Now that's cool because Alpha's gone, Revival's gone, DIY has dissolved, and TM61, well, they're irrelevant. Let's be real for a second. But he tells the guys in Heavy Machinery, you might be big, but you're not even going to be a footnote in the Book of Pain. Heavy Machinery come out, they have a big stare down, it's kind of cool, and Authors of Pain leave at Paul Ellering's behest. I like this. Because for a long time now, we've seen really cool tag team wrestling on NXT. And it has, much like the women's division, it's been the genesis for those two divisions. And we've seen smaller, more athletic, more dynamic, more acrobatic teams. We've seen American Alpha, we've seen DIY, we've seen the Revival, we've seen, who else? Well, separately, but we saw Fandango and Tyler Breeze, all things like that. Now, you get the total opposite of that with the Authors of Pain. And then you get somebody that you want to see matched up with them like Heavy Machinery. It's not going to be Revival versus DIY. It's not going to be, you know, Usos versus American Alpha. It's not going to be anything like that. It's the opposite side of the coin. It's the, I don't want to put a negative spin on it, but it's that Big Show Mark Henry thing. It's not eye-popping, it's not fast-paced per se, but that old-school element of two boulders running into each other. there is still something appealing to that, and I think this is going to be very cool. I think this is what we're going to get at TakeOver Brooklyn, and I hope, while they are keeping Heavy Machinery as sort of a funny team, there are two guys in there, they're like the buddy tag team. They're in there having a good time, but when they get in there with somebody, they still destroy them. I hope they keep that balance so that they don't come off as goofballs up against two scary guys like the Authors of Pain. We get a video package for Sonya Deville. I really want them to do more with Sonya Deville. I'm really kind of confused as to why they renamed her. I like the original name that she wrestled under when she was a heel, when she was with Peyton Royce and Billie Kay for a little bit, was Daria Baronato. And I like that name for some reason. Don't ask me why. That's entirely a matter of taste. But Sonya Deville, she looks like a badass. And yeah, they really play up on her MMA shtick. And you can't help but see they're trying to give her, the only example I have is like a Brock Lesnar or a Ronda Rousey. You guys know I'm not a UFC fan, but you can tell from a look point of view they're trying to give her that look and hope the intensity follows. I know the video is all pre-packaged, pre-recorded statements, so she might have said her lines in this pre-packaged thing 100 times, but she sounds good. She sounds like if they give her a mic in the middle of a ring, she's going to bring that sort of intensity, you know. I'm not here to dance around. I'm not here to be all glitz and glam and sparkly. You know, I think she had some catchphrase. It was like tie up your hair and knuckle up or something to that effect. And that anti-diva, you know, we loved Paige for so long because she was like that anti-Barbie doll, that anti-diva, that anti-princess element. If you're going to get a little bit of that with Daria Baronato, who's got this like legit fighter background, I think you've got a very unique thing on your hands. I think given the right push, given the right opportunities, given the right build, etc., you put her up against the strong style of Asuka and you've got a hell of a match in the future. It's that time of the week where I'm going to say, fuck the Velveteen Dream. And then we see highlights of the Oni Lorcan Hideo Itami match from last week where they literally beat the ever-loving shit out of each other, which is great, followed up by the confrontation between Itami and Cassius Ohno. Now this goes to Cassius Ohno in the back talking about Hideo Itami and all the struggles that Hideo Itami has had, but he uses this opportunity to basically announce that he's facing Aleister Black next week. Now, I don't know what that has to do with Hideo Itami. It's great you want to keep Hideo Itami in the front of the mind because that's your most recent heel turn on the brand. I get that. And even you even have, in an adverse sense, you've even given Oni Lorcan a chance to shine and a chance to look like a bit of a badass. You want to say that there's a continuing story between Hideo Itami and Cassius Ohno. I get that. I don't know whether that's the biggest drawing match for a pay-per-view, I'm not going to lie. But I don't know why you use all that to springboard into a match with Aleister Black, who's not related to any of this. I get it. It's cool. You know, Cassius Ohno says he's going to lead by example by facing Aleister Black next week, but I don't know what that has to do with Itami or Lorcan or Ohno's issues with Itami. It's not terrible. I don't get it. Maybe it's me. Maybe it's me. We see another highlight package for Ember Moon. It's getting a little repetitive at this point because we've got a lot of packaging this week, but it's okay. Not only is she making a debut next week, they wanted to really push the idea that she's going to be returning next week. She's going to be, you know, finishing off this feud with Peyton Royce and Billie Kay, hopefully on her way back to the title picture, but not before we get the match that everybody tuned in this week to see. Let's be real for a second. The rematch of Nikki Cross versus Ruby Riot versus Asuka for the NXT Women's Championship, this time in a triple threat elimination match. I smile a whole bunch because my notes for this match are more than a page and the writing sucks. You guys know the drill by now. So I'm going to trip over myself, I'm going to slur my words, or I'm going to trip over a sentence or a statement or a maneuver or some. But you guys are going to have to go with the ride with me on this one because me trying to keep up my notes with this match was an endurance challenge. I'm not going to lie because I love this match. I love it. I'm not going to say immediately right after I'm riding the momentum of watching it, you know, match of the year candidate, rah, but it probably will be, let's be real. Cross tosses Riot into Asuka to start, and then trades blows with Asuka. Riot and Asuka trade kicks, and there's a drop kick by Riot, drop kick by Asuka, drop kick by Cross. Everybody's drop kicking everybody. Anything you can do, I can do better. You guys know I love that story, and these girls pull it off perfectly. Drop kick for you, drop kick for you, drop kick for you. It's fucking great. Forearms and clotheslines by Riot, and a turnbuckle head scissor, gut wrench by Asuka, back elbows by Riot, hip attack by Asuka, boot and a head scissor by Riot, backpack sleeper by Cross, detonation kick by Riot, which made me smile because I think one of the commentators even mentioned TJP, which is a little, you know, talking about somebody that's fallen from grace a little bit. Drop kick from the apron by Riot to Cross and Asuka. One boot for each of them off the apron to the floor. Nice little move. Drop kick by Riot. Asuka tosses Ruby Riot off of the top, and she's on the top rope. Asuka comes up the apron, grabs her, pulls her off, but not only does she fall from the turnbuckle to the floor, she manages to eat apron face first on the way down. It doesn't look pretty. Neckbreaker by Cross, side suplex by Riot, enziguri by Riot, suspension neckbreaker by Cross. Imagine how Randy Orton sets up the suspension DDT. Feet on the second rope. Well, instead of feet on the second rope, imagine feet on the third turnbuckle and a neckbreaker from that position. It's good. And that is enough for Nikki Cross to pin Ruby Riot and eliminate her from the match. And now you get down to the match that I really want to see. One-on-one, Asuka versus Nikki Cross. Commentators go out of their way to remind us that it's still being fought under triple threat rules, which means it cannot end in disqualification or countout. Pinfall or submission only to determine the women's champion. Forearm by Cross, spinning back fist by Asuka, deadlift German suplex by Asuka. Asuka digs into her bag of tricks and says, say it loud, say it proud, she digs out the Daniel Bryan silly kicks. Oh yes. Cross rakes the eyes, hip attack off the apron by Asuka. Cross and Asuka brawl outside. They brawl backstage. Which calls the referee to designate this match a no contest. Which is a shit finish, if that was the finish. Immediately, the crowd, who were loving this match, ref you suck chant. But they brawl from the ringside, up the side of the rail. They spent a lot of time, I don't know what you would call it, that aisleway space between the ramp and the guardrail of the fans, you know, back and forth, pillar to post, as the cliche goes. They eventually get backstage. They eventually get out to the parking lot, and Cross, at one point, absolutely demolishes Asuka headfirst into one of the roll-up bay doors, which looked pretty. They brawl to the makeup area. They brawl into the backstage area. They beat each other into the commentator's area and onto the commentator's desk. They beat each other through the tech area, up the tech table, and Nikki Cross gets the last word, nails a crossbody, pun intended, from the tech stage through Asuka through a table. And that's your match. That's your ending segment. That's your end of the show. I don't care. Yeah, they were both laid out, which is dumb because Asuka went through a table and Nikki Cross just landed on Asuka. But I mean, Ruby Riot was eliminated. Sorry about your luck. Try again next time. This has to lead to a match at TakeOver, Nikki Cross versus Asuka, one-on-one. No DQ if you like. Falls count anywhere if you like. But if they leapfrog Ember Moon back into the title picture without acknowledging this moment tonight, and they don't give Nikki Cross a title match at TakeOver in Brooklyn at the Barclay, they are fucking morons. This was cool. Put this on a bigger stage. Put this on a TakeOver. You will make money. Nikki Cross, Asuka, Crazy Chicks. It's money. I'm just saying. Love this match. Nothing against Ruby Riot, by the way. Ruby Riot is kind of the great counterpart to Nikki Cross. You know, psychotic good, psychotic evil, and then you've got Asuka, who's psychotic heel, I guess. Great match. Absolutely great match. You got a lot of other women nipping at the heels. You got the Sonya Devilles and the Ember Moons and the Peyton Royces and the Billie Kays and the Liv Morgans and the Aaliyahs and all that sort of thing. All ready for next week. I love this match. I've been looking forward to this match for 2 weeks. Next week, Sonya Deville in action. Ember Moon returns to face Peyton Royce, and you know Billie Kay is going to be lurking in the corner somewhere. And Cassius Ohno versus Aleister Black, which I really hope I can be excited about. NXT was really good tonight. It was a one-match card, and that one match had an inconclusive finish, and it still managed to be better than Raw, still managed to be better than SmackDown, even though my bias towards SmackDown is a thing. It's not better than this. It's just not. When I hang up this, I'm going to get online, I'm going to be talking to my friends, we're going to be talking predictions for Money in the Bank. They got to do something to beat this. I'm just saying. I'm looking forward to Money in the Bank. Don't make any mistake on that one. But this was a fucking great show. I hope you guys are as excited as I am. I gotta do one more video after this and I've already got no voice. So sorry I'm not as enthused as I probably should sound. But sometimes it is what it is. Anyways, that's what I thought of NXT. What did you think of NXT? I've been Spaz, your YWC Reality Check. Subscribe up there, talk down there, start a conversation, keep all of these conversations going. Don't be a stranger. I will talk to each and every last one of you later. But for right now, I am tagging out. Bye, guys. Like me.